Just stop your crying, it'll be alright.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for those emotional tunes that strike a chord within our collective hearts.
Would you lie with me and just forget the world?
Number 50, November Rain, Guns N' Roses. Never underestimate the strength of a power ballad. The Sunset Strip rock of the 1980s knew this all too well. Yet Guns N' Roses was always so much more than just a simple rock band from that decade. This was evidenced by the grandeur present within epics like November Rain. The song was more than just a quick 4-minute power ballad designed to generate sales for the latest hairspray brigade. This was something meticulously crafted by Axl Rose and company, a song designed with clear emotion in mind. The execution was flawless, particularly that ending coda full of majestic guitar soloing and piano flourishes that never fail to make our hearts flourish. Number 49, One Sweet Day, Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. We all deal with the onset of tragedy in different ways. One Sweet Day was a collaboration between generational talents, specifically those belonging to Mariah Carey and the vocal group Boyz II Men. The song was inspired by the AIDS crisis that dominated a lot of news cycles during the 1980s and 90s, but didn't necessarily take a shock approach to its content. Instead, One Sweet Day feels sad and melancholic, an inner monologue into the brevity of life and how many of us don't appreciate waking up every morning. Carey and Boyz II Men sing about hopefully rectifying those emotional struggles in the afterlife, reunited with friends and family that were lost along the way. Number 48, Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want, The Smiths. The discography of The Smiths is full of songs with deep emotional resonance. This is despite historical criticism of the British group frequently labeling their songwriting as short-sighted and without much deviation.
See, the look I've had can make a good man turn bad.
We couldn't disagree with those detractors more, as evidenced by the power of Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want. The song fits into the Smiths' famously economical compositional style, a short and bittersweet ballad that's under 2 minutes.
So, for once in my life, let me get what I want.
Yet at the same time, this B-side utilizes an old-school, vintage-sounding arrangement to its advantage, packing a lot of sincerity and introspective sadness within that time. The end results made Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want a certified fan favorite amongst followers of the Smiths.
Lord knows it would be the first time.
Number 47, Black, Pearl Jam. It speaks to the defiantly independent spirit of Pearl Jam that they refused their record company's requests to make Black a single back when the band's debut was released in 1991. This didn't stop radio stations from playing it, of course, regardless of the absence of any accompanying music video. Black, as a result, gained traction the old-fashioned way, via word of mouth and actual album listening by Pearl Jam's increasing legions of fans. This made those same fans love Pearl Jam on an even deeper level, responding to Black in the live arena in a way that moves beyond powerful to become almost transformational in scope. Number 46, Sign of the Times, Harry Styles. If the passage of time proves anything, it's that everybody's nostalgic for something, and there will come a point when a generation looks back at Sign of the Times by Harry Styles with misty-eyed wistfulness.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times.
It's sort of easy to see why, too, since this song from Styles' first solo LP, post One Direction, feels wise beyond its years. The spirit of classic art rock and pop looms large over the song's construction, a confessional tone that's simultaneously epic and intimate. Sign of the Times is impeccably produced as well, striking a balance of art and commerce that effectively silenced any critics that still focused upon Styles' boy band past. Number 45, My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. It was virtually impossible to escape the international success of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion when it was released back in 1997. The tune's appeal swept far beyond the current achieved by the film soundtrack to Titanic, instead becoming ensnared within the cultural zeitgeist as a defining hit of the 90s. Near, far, wherever. This, of course, came as no surprise to fans of Dion's superstar abilities as a singer. Yet, My Heart Will Go On still manages to pull upon the heartstrings of those fans to this day. My heart will go on and on. Maybe it's the cinematic source material, or that one-of-a-kind chorus, but the success of My Heart Will Go On will likely not be replicated anytime soon. Number 44, Here Comes Goodbye, Rascal Flatts. The presence of sadness and heartbreak within country music shouldn't really come as a surprise to any music fan. That said, the part and parcel melancholy that arrived during the genre's classic years remains intact with contemporary artists as well.
The start of every sleepless night, the first of every tear, I'm gonna cry.
Case in point, Here Comes Goodbye by Rascal Flatts, whose emotional punch was bolstered by one of the all-time saddest video clips. This mini-movie is stylish, featuring a snow-covered set and quality acting from its cast.
But here comes goodbye.
Meanwhile, the actual arrangement to Here Comes Goodbye almost feels like it would feel at home within one of those classic hair metal power ballads from the 1980s. Heck, there's even an epic guitar solo to hammer home that point. Number 43, Adam's Song, Blink-182. It wasn't necessarily a foregone conclusion back in 2000 that Blink-182 was going to expand beyond the creative confines of pop-punk. This was in part what made Adam's Song feel so refreshingly different from songs by so many of the band's peers.
I never thought I'd die alone. I laughed the loudest, who'd have known?
The tune wasn't merely content to play in the often irreverent sandbox of Blink-182's trademarked genre, but instead spoke to real concerns of their audience. The topics of mental health struggles and self-destruction were handled with surprising poignancy by this young band.
I couldn't wait till I got home to pass the time in my room alone.
Meanwhile, the surprising inclusion of piano during the bridge of Adam's Song revealed a willingness to experiment with different sounds and textures, a willingness that definitely didn't go unnoticed. Number 42, The Wolves, Act 1 and 2, Bon Iver. The spirits of classic Americana and folk haunt the sound of modern indie icons Bon Iver. This was evidenced by the passionate response of fans to the group's debut album from 2007, For Emma Forever Ago.
With the wild wolves around you in the morning.
It's easy to see and hear why too, since songs like The Wolves Act 1 and 2 generate a lot of emotions within just over 5 minutes of stark beauty.
When your eyes are all painted, it's a natural blue.
This is a song that never needs to speak loudly in order to get its point across to the listener. Instead, The Wolves' Act 1 and 2 whispers heartfelt sentiments in the hopes that Bon Iver will be heard and understood.
Someday my pain.
Number 41. Rainbow Connection, The Muppets. Film soundtracks can often create musical touchstones that span the listening habits of multiple generations. Rainbow Connection may have debuted as part of the Muppet movie in 1979, but it's since gone on to become a foundational sentiment for the Muppets as a whole.
Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star?
We're speaking specifically of creator Jim Henson's undeterred optimism for humanity, for its goodness and creativity.
Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far.
Rainbow Connection makes us cry happy tears as a result, weeping perhaps for the lost innocence of youth, but also for joy, and for hope in the future, for our children, and how the Muppets will always be a part of that future.
Rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Number 40, See You Again, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth. The Fast and Furious franchise has never forgotten just how much its former star, Paul Walker, contributed to the success of those early entries.
We've come a long way from where we began.
A song like See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth celebrates this fact, as that same franchise carries on Walker's legacy. The tune is big-sounding, cinematic, and sentimental to be sure, but it nevertheless avoids any pitfalls of exploitation.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through, that I'll be standing right here talking to you.
Instead, See You Again attempts to make the most out of a horrible and tragic situation, processing grief through music in a way that fans of the Fast and the Furious franchise definitely appreciated. Number 39. How to Save a Life, The Fray. It's probably not hyperbole to state that the multiple music videos crafted for How to Save a Life by The Fray likely led to the song's continued success. All 3 clips packed different emotional punches.
Drive until you lose the road, a break with the ones you follow.
These ranged from the original's exploration of a car crash and its aftermath to the second, which tied into the television medical drama Grey's Anatomy.
Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness.
It's the 3rd video for How to Save a Life that perhaps stayed with fans the longest, however, since it was a very raw and realistic depiction of grief, trauma, and loss. Some of these scenes were particularly hard to watch back in 2006 and would likely arrive with a trigger warning in the modern day. Number 38. Father and Son, Yousef Cat Stevens. Cultures had shifted during the 1960s and 70s. More young people were seeking to break away from the expectations of their parents, and the generation gap felt very, very real for parents. Father and Son speaks to this gap and never sugarcoats what's going on, as Yousef Cat Stevens plays both roles within the song. The father here clearly loves his son, but is frightened where a new and deviating path might lead him.
For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not.
The son, meanwhile, also cares for the father, but wishes the latter could understand fighting for an independent voice.
From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen now.
It's remarkably poignant stuff from Stevens, and one doesn't necessarily need to be a parent in order to understand how father and son can affect us all in different ways.
And I know that I have to go away. go.
Number 37, Iris, Goo Goo Dolls. What a difference a decade made for the Goo Goo Dolls. This Buffalo-based rock act actually started out life with a punk sound on their self-titled debut from 1987. This stood in very stark contrast to the Goo Goo Dolls we would hear perform Iris from the soundtrack to City of Angels.
I'd give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow.
It's the strength of the song's lyricism and the power of music video that ultimately helped make Iris a hit back in 1998. A perfect storm of sorts emerged as guitarist Joanie became a visual focal point for the Goo Goo Dolls, and the band's edges were softened.
I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think they'd understand.
This was sweeping, cinematic sentimentality that swung for the fences and hit an emotional home run.
I just want you to know who I am.
Number 36, Streets of Philadelphia, Bruce Springsteen. The discography of Bruce Springsteen has never been deficient in narrative brilliance. The boss has always made it a point to tell powerful stories with his songs. This cut from the soundtrack to the film Philadelphia was no exception, and showcased a side of Bruce Springsteen's songwriting in a cinematic vein.
Bruised and battered, I couldn't tell what I felt. I was unrecognizable to myself.
Streets of Philadelphia hinges upon an understated but definitely groovy breakbeat, while Springsteen's vocals feel intimate and earnest, tethering the song to the tragic seriousness of its source material.
The avenue to my legs felt like stone. Voices of friends vanished and gone.
It's a song that steps slowly, but with deliberate intent, never exploiting Philadelphia's tale of a man unjustly terminated from his job during the AIDS crisis.
Leave each other alone like this on the streets of Philadelphia.
Number 35, Fire and Rain, James Taylor. We as listeners don't necessarily need to understand a song's intention or meaning to appreciate its end results. Fire and Rain by James Taylor can simply be enjoyed in a vacuum for its beautiful vocal melodies and quiet musical power.
Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand.
Those that dig a little deeper into Taylor's lyricism will likely be struck with just how much pathos Fire and Rain can pack in around 3.5 minutes. Self-reflections upon fame, fortune, and the music business are juxtaposed against a real-life tragedy that afflicted Taylor and his childhood friend Suzanne.
Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain.
Fire and Rain remains one of James Taylor's trademark hits, but it's also one that can be appreciated quietly away from its cultural legacy.
Thought I'd see you just one more time, Suzanne.
Number 34, River, Joni Mitchell. The crossroads of art and commerce can be an interesting place, particularly when it comes to analyzing the singer-songwriter boom of the 1970s. Artists such as Joni Mitchell were enjoying larger audiences than ever during this time, and this made songs like River connect with multiple generations.
It's coming on Christmas, they're cutting down trees.
River utilizes Christmas time as a setting, incorporating the standard of jingle bells to tell an otherwise sad tale of heartbreak. Mitchell works as a painter to this end, coloring River with emotional colors to which all of us can relate. This idea of being depressing during what would otherwise be a happy time of the year was not lost on Joni Mitchell's listeners then or now, and River sounds just as vibrant and important today.
Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on.
Number 33, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Aerosmith. We don't, generally speaking, look to the worlds of big-budgeted disaster movies for emotionally resonant theme songs.
I could stay awake just to hear you breathing.
Then again, 1998's Armageddon also wasn't your average, everyday disaster movie, because it contained I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith on its soundtrack.
I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing.
Sure, this song certainly feels like a slickly produced advertisement for the movie, because it is that, but that doesn't mean that it also can't touch people. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing almost makes us cry in spite of ourselves, as we're overcome by the lush orchestration and impeccably produced power ballad formula.
I don't wanna fall asleep, yeah. I don't wanna miss a thing.
Number 32, I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton. It doesn't really matter whether you're listening to the original version of I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton or the iconic cover by Whitney Houston. The emotional impact of this song remains the same. I Will Always Love You has that achingly beautiful chorus, but the secret to its success is probably more than that at the end of the day. It's the simplicity and honesty of its composition that allows I Will Always Love You to transcend any perceived limitations of genre.
I know I'll think of you each step.
A good song is a good song after all, and Dolly Parton essentially leapfrogged over country music constraints with I Will Always Love You, with the result that this song essentially became one of the best from any genre. Number 31, Chasing Cars, Snow Patrol. Some songs sound sad due to their lyrics, while others rely on their musical arrangements to achieve this end. Snow Patrol songs like Run have stuck with listeners of this Northern Irish-Scottish rock band over the years.
And we'll run for our lives.
It's probably Chasing Cars that's connected with more casual music fans over the years, however, ever since it was released as a single back in 2006.
Let's waste time chasing cars.
The tune is a perfect storm of sorts, combining the melancholy of its melody with lyrics that create that perfect introspective mood. What can we say? Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol just gets us every time.
Just know that these things will never change for us at all.
Number 30, Dust in the Wind, Kansas.
I close my eyes.
As soon as you hear that opening line, you know you're in for a rough time. Dust in the Wind is dark and focuses on the one inevitable aspect of all of our lives, the end. The lyrics are reflective, pondering about how everybody's dreams, fears, and secrets are all ultimately meaningless. Dust in the winds of time.
Nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky.
It's a full existential crisis that plays out in the span of just over 3 minutes, and has an overall despondent mood that anyone can relate to. The harmonies and seemingly simple string instrumental add to the evocative vibe, making it impossible to not feel something as you listen.
Everything is dust in the wind.
Number 29, Cats in the Cradle, Harry Chapin.
My child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way.
Families can be a beautiful thing, but we don't often discuss the unavoidable shift in the relationship between parents and their children as the latter grow older. Cats in the Cradle, however, beautifully encapsulates this change. It laments the passage of time and all the important milestones the narrator missed while working.
Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today. I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay.
Still, his son takes it in stride and strives to emulate him. Unfortunately, that ends up becoming true in the most depressing way, with the father being cast aside by his child. It's a gut-wrenching piece that will make any parent hug their kid a little harder.
When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then.
Number 28, Bad Religion, Frank Ocean.
Taxi driver, be my shrink for the hour.
Unrequited love is one of the most painful emotional experiences someone can go through. The feeling of caring deeply for another person just for them to not reciprocate is heart-wrenching. In Bad Religion, Frank Ocean details these complex feelings to someone he assumes will listen, a taxi driver.
Taxi driver, I swear I've got 3 lives balanced on my head like stick knife.
The track ends up being a cathartic release, where Ocean explains the often fanatic sensations that come with loving a man who doesn't feel the same way. The repetitive lines help convey this even further, highlighting just how painful unresolved feelings can be. Regardless of your relationship status, it's hard to listen to this without sorrowfully reflecting on the one who got away, or never even was.
I can never make them love me, never make them love me.
Number 27, Yesterday, The Beatles.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
With a discography as vast as theirs, it only makes sense for the Beatles to have multiple solid emotional tunes under their belt. Whether they're talking about letting go or singing about love, they capture the human condition in plenty of their hits. Yesterday is one of their most wistful.
Why she had to go, I don't know.
It focuses on a relationship that's recently decayed, and how the narrator wishes he could return to a time when they were still happy. The straightforward nature of the number only adds to the devastation. Using just one vocalist and string accompaniments, the band paints a clear picture of heartbreak that always gets us in our feelings.
Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Number 26, Landslide, Fleetwood Mac.
To my love, took it down.
Crises can strike anyone, even rock stars. There was a time when Stevie Nicks was wondering if the path she was on was the right one. That, coupled with the fact that it was an uncertain time in her and Lindsey Buckingham's career, led to Landslide. And lives were changed. The folk rock number details how it feels when everything comes crashing down around you, and you wonder if you can weather the storm.
Well, I've been afraid of changing.
It also captures the fear of potentially losing the chance to achieve one's dreams. To say that's difficult, heavy stuff would be an understatement, but it's real, which is why it continues to resonate so deeply today. Somehow, it almost hits harder each time it's played.
Bring it down.
Number 25, Dance with My Father, Luther Vandross.
Back when I was a child.
The memories we make with our parents are precious, but limited. Each one is made with the knowledge that eventually, the relationship will come to a natural end. However, the times we experience together never truly fade, and even affect us into adulthood.
He'd make me laugh just to comfort me. Yeah, yeah.
In Dance with My Father, Luther Vandross looks back on core experiences he shared with his late father growing up, like dancing with him and his mom. He reminisces on the pure love he felt, and wishes he could bring him back. It's more than just a song. It's a gut-wrenching plea for something that can never be fulfilled, and we can never maintain our composure when we hear it.
Dance with my father again.
Number 24, Lazarus, David Bowie.
Look up here, I'm in heaven.
While a track can be sad on its own, sometimes the context surrounding it amplifies that emotion. David Bowie's career was long and illustrious, spanning decades and genres. He continued working until the very end, with his last efforts including his swan song, Lazarus.
I've got nothing left to lose.
It's extremely self-aware, with the legend reflecting on life coming to an end. While the content is bleak enough, it being released shortly before Bowie's death twisted the proverbial knife. It's undoubtedly harrowing, but there's also a sense of freedom, like he'd come to terms with his fate and was ready to tackle it head-on. It became a fitting piece to cap off his legacy.
Oh, I'll be free.
Number 23, My Immortal, Evanescence.
I'm so tired of being here.
With Amy Lee's ethereal voice and melancholic production, Evanescence created a ballad that's impacted the lives of millennials everywhere. My Immortal captures the feelings of unrelenting grief, and how it never seems to fade despite how much time has passed.
When you cried, I'd wipe away all
From detailing the pain that comes with loss to attempting to accept it, the stirring tune encapsulates what it's like to be stuck in the mourning process. The natural crescendo into the bridge is also gorgeous, ushering in an emotional peak. It's one of the most recognizable and well-loved ballads of the 2000s, and it's clear to see why. It's nearly impossible not to sing along and shed a tear as you listen. Number 22. Who Wants to Live Forever? Queen.
There's no time for us.
While it may have been created for Highlander, this power ballad has become so much more. The orchestra-backed tune is gorgeous and asks a simple yet existential question. Is living forever worth it without the person you love? While it's always been melancholic, it was made even more sorrowful by Freddie Mercury's passing in 1991. Suddenly, the lyrics took on a new, somehow even deeper message, and he and Brian May trading lines on the album version seemed extra fitting. The posthumous context has helped Who Wants to Live Forever endure beyond its soundtrack beginnings, cementing it as one of the most haunting and poignant entries in the band's catalog. Number 21. One More Light, Linkin Park.
Should have stayed, were the signs.
It's hard to believe that one song can be so soaked in sadness. Written after the death of a friend, One More Light is centered around grief and letting your nearest and dearest know how you feel.
Who cares if one more light goes out?
The words and melody cut deep, but the pain goes beyond them, which is saying a lot. Indeed, the ambient ballad was notably performed as a tribute to Chris Cornell after his death. It was also among the last songs Chester Bennington recorded with Linkin Park before his passing. These events further amplify the raw hurt that permeates the number. Not only does One More Light make anyone who's grieved feel understood, it also serves as a tribute to those we've lost.
I do.
Number 20. What a Wonderful World, Louis Armstrong. Here's an inspiring, uplifting, intensely emotional song that's never likely to be forgotten.
See skies of blue, clouds of white.
Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World is considered by many to be the soundtrack to the 20th century, despite the bloody conflicts that dominated the period.
They're really saying, I love you.
A piece of music that puts everything into perspective, it brings a tear to the eye because it pits the miracle of life against the waste of war.
I hear babies crying, I watch them grow.
The world would be a better place if we all just listened to these lyrics and actually put them into practice.
What a wonderful world.
Number 19. I Will Follow You Into the Dark, Death Cab for Cutie. The afterlife is often a tricky topic to tackle, but Death Cab for Cutie's Ben Gibbard talks us through with such brilliant tenderness, it's all but impossible not to well up.
Love of mine, someday you will die.
I Will Follow You is one man, one voice, one acoustic guitar, and one simple, splendid ideal that we might meet our closest loved ones again, when our life on earth has ended.
If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied.
An outwardly depressing subject matter is turned into an incredibly hopeful moment, as this song has us all take stock of ourselves and of the people who we care for most.
When your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Number 18. Someone Like You, Adele.
Old friend, why are you so shy?
Probably the most popular modern breakup song to make today's countdown, Someone Like You is still a signature tune for Adele, despite the countless hits that the UK singer has had before and since.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
A touching, almost tribute to an ex-boyfriend of hers, she lays it all on the lyrical line with this one, and almost every music listener respects her for it.
I wish nothing but the best for you.
Adele wears her heart firmly on her sleeve, while we, without a doubt, wear our tears on our cheeks.
Don't forget me, I think I remember you say.
Number 17, Lay Me Down, Sam Smith.
Yes, I do. I believe that one day I will be where I was.
We could have gone with Sam Smith's Stay With Me for this spot, but Lay Me Down will make you cry just a little harder.
Can I lay by your side?
The lead single from Smith's Grammy Award-winning debut album In the Lonely Hour, Lay Me Down was built around many of the same themes that are found on the album, specifically unrequited love.
This hurt that I've been through.
The video alludes to Smith's ongoing hope that equal LGBTQ+ rights will one day be a worldwide reality, while the singer's powerful voice will haunt you and force you to bawl your eyes out.
Can I lay by your side?
Number 16, Fake Plastic Trees, Radiohead.
She bought from a rubber man.
Radiohead are well known for being a little brutal with their views on society, but this is surely the band's best, if not most depressing take on the world around them. A scathing critique of the inescapable artificial nature of life in the 90s, it grows more and more relevant by the day.
She lives with a broken mind.
Although exit music for a film is awfully melancholy in its own right, there's just nothing else as bleak or as brilliant as Fake Plastic Trees. Listen to it, look at the world around you, and we defy you not to be moved. Number 15, Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor.
Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want.
One of the most instantly recognizable songs and music videos ever created, very little compares to this when it comes to tempting tears. Nothing Compares to You is easily Sinead O'Connor's greatest commercial success.
But nothing, I said nothing can take away this blue.
Not that the controversial performer got to enjoy much of the fame that it generated for very long. Originally written by Prince, this song is love, loss, and lots of emotionally effective close-up camera work. O'Connor's famous tear towards the song's end wasn't planned, but wow does it work. Nothing can stop her lonely tears from falling, or ours for that matter.
Nothing compares to you.
Number 14, Angel, Sarah McLachlan. A song originally written in relation to substance use disorder and the spiraling psychology of those that suffer from it, this especially touching Sarah McLachlan number has subsequently been linked with teary-eyed topics of all kinds.
In the arms of the angel.
The ambiguous eponymous angel is an almost unknowable thing, designed to give hope or relief when times are hard.
You are pulled from the wreckage.
As McLachlan's piano plays softly in the background, her listener is invited to interpret her lyrics for themselves and project the pain of her voice onto their own past experiences. A good cry that comes naturally.
Some comfort here.
Number 13, Fix You, Coldplay.
And the tears come streaming down your face.
By now, even the toughest amongst you may have at least a little something in your eye. And if not, then our next pick will set you sobbing, no doubt.
Lights will guide you home.
Tackling love and loss like so many on our countdown before them, Coldplay turns the saddest subject matter into a tear-filled roller coaster of a record with this song. The first half had us subdued, the second half had us singing along. And if that doesn't have your eyes watering, just watch them perform it live.
Your face
Number 12, Wild Horses, The Rolling Stones. Exactly who this song was written for remains a mystery. Marianne Faithfull's the most likely, though it has also been linked to Bianca Jagger and Keith Richards' son Marlon.
Wild horses couldn't track me.
What is clear is that with one simple hook, the Stones produced an ageless piece of music that has stood hairs on end for generations.
'Cause I know I dreamed you.
Mick's distinctive voice finds a perfect match as this brooding, crooning, subdued song leaves the listener as lonely as the frontman. Number 11, Wake Me Up When September Ends, Green Day. While Good Riddance is a tear-jerking song we all love, our pick for Green Day had to go to this track from American Idiot.
Coming past, the innocent can never last.
This rock ballad was originally written about lead singer Billy Joe Armstrong's father, who passed away from cancer when Billy was only 10 years old. But the song's backstory became even more emotional after Hurricane Katrina struck in late August of 2005. Serving as a symbolic anthem for all the victims and families struck by the disaster, this track's meaning was then further elevated by its accompanying music video that also served as a critique of the Iraq War.
I thought of all people you would understand. Why don't you understand? I did this for us! I did it for us!
Number 10, The Sound of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel. The opening lines to our next track are amongst the most recognizable in all of modern music.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Written shortly after the JFK assassination, this song also became an accompaniment to the Vietnam War.
That was planted in my brain, still remains.
It welcomes darkness and is perhaps most effective when it's played within it.
Disturb the sound of silence.
The combination of vocals and the high tones are as haunting today as they were in the mid-1960s. While Bridge Over Troubled Water is another contender,
A bridge over troubled water.
the legacy of The Sound of Silence is hard to beat.
In the sounds of silence.
Number 9, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. The title track to their 1975 album, Wish You Were Here, was written for Pink Floyd founder member Syd Barrett in response to his alleged battle with schizophrenia.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell?
The whole album explores the theme of detachment, and David Gilmour's vocals retain a curiously absent quality as he pines for his friend.
How I wish you were here. We just two lost souls living.
The whole track comes across as an effortless piece of music, a train of thought that is at once sad and beautiful in its simplicity.
Wish you were here.
Number 8, Mad World, Michael Andrews featuring Gary Jules.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places.
Originally written by Tears for Fears in 1982, this song saw a big resurgence when it was showcased in the 2001 thriller Donnie Darko.
The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had.
With delicate piano notes and calming vocals by Gary Jules, this new version quickly overshadowed the original song, and resonated with listeners feeling helpless and intimidated by modern life. We've all needed a song to drown our sorrows from time to time, and Mad World speaks to the difficult and uncertain journey we're all taking in this life, allowing us to reflect on what true happiness might feel like.
It's a very, very mad world.
Number 7, Fast Car, Tracy Chapman. One of the hardest things about growing up is figuring out who you want to be.
Doing it well, maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere.
This question is even more difficult to answer for those living in poverty and with the odds stacked against them.
I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, it felt like was drunk.
Tracy Chapman expressed this beautifully in the song Fast Car, the lead single from her debut album. In this track, Chapman describes a young woman desperately seeking out a better life for herself, but struggling to get there.
You'll find work and I'll get promoted. We'll move out of the shelter.
Everyone deserves happiness in this life, yet without family or friends to help you get there, it can be difficult to achieve. And that's what makes this song just downright heartbreaking. Number 6, The Living Years, Mike and the Mechanics.
Every generation blames the one before.
This 80s ballad once again picks apart the question of life and death and summarizes the conundrum in 6 short words. It's too late when we die. A global chart hit, this song addresses an unresolved conflict between songwriter B.A. Robertson and his father shortly before he died. Specifically about the bond between a boy and his father, the idea is applicable to just about any relationship that we could have. That's why it gets us singing along, even if it is difficult to do that and not shed a tear.
Sure, I heard his echo in my baby's newborn tears. I just wish I could have told him.
Number 5, Candle in the Wind, Elton John.
Seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind.
Originally penned in memory of Marilyn Monroe, Candle in the Wind is also famously linked to Diana, Princess of Wales, after Elton played it at her funeral.
Toughest role you ever played, Hollywood created a superstar.
Though the lives of its subjects have been tragically short-lived, the song itself has endured for generations, and rightly so.
Though I never knew at all that I had the grace to hold yourself.
It's emotional enough without context, but it's a fitting tribute to 2 iconic women, and to celebrities in general that died too young. An elegy of the highest order.
Burned out long before your legend ever did.
Number 4, Hallelujah, Jeff Buckley. This song was powerful when Leonard Cohen sang it originally, but when Jeff Buckley caressed his vocals around the lyrics, hairs stood on end and lumps formed in throats.
And it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you?
It's love that's gone stale, so it's relatable for many of us.
She cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah.
There's also anguish in his voice that's impossible to fake. He isn't just singing the words, he understands them.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
A talent that was lost too soon, this song is his legacy.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Number 3, Everybody Hurts, R.E.M. We defy anyone not to be moved by our first podium entry.
Let yourself go.
Everybody Hurts has become a staple soundtrack to modern day life.
'Cause everybody hurts.
Adopted by the Samaritans charity, it was originally written by the band for anyone struggling with severe depression. This song not only prompts tears, it saves lives. According to the lyrics, we all cry, and most of us do when we sing them. Everybody hurts, and after this song, everybody's reaching for the tissues.
Everybody hurts. Sometimes.
Number 2, Hurt, Johnny Cash. Originally penned by Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails, Hurt was taken on by the legendary Johnny Cash several years later.
I hurt myself today.
It brings the memories of his past under the cold, harsh spotlight of his present.
Everyone I know goes away.
Cash was very frail when recording the song, and he died 7 months after its release. Relaying the unstoppable passing of time, its accompanying music video is a memorial to one man, but something that we'll all experience. It's about as powerful as music can be.
If I could start again, a million miles.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Tears in Heaven, Eric Clapton.
Would you know my name?
Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven is an incredibly moving piece of music, made all the more impactful by the great personal tragedy Clapton experienced. When his 4-year-old son tragically passed away in 1991, we'd have understood if Clapton never picked up a guitar again. But he did, and was able to produce a record that's as terrific as it is teary. Reminding us all of anyone who's passed, Tears in Heaven verbalizes what everyone else would like to say. It's a tear-jerking tune that gets us every time. What is it about sad songs that strike the deepest chords? Lyrics, music, or both? Let us know in the comments.
Oh, I'll tell you all about